Garrett has become the new Alex Jones. Garrett is pushing conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory, and all because he lost a hand to a woman who played Jack 4. I was upset about this on day one. I was upset about his behavior, the way he handled this situation, him taking the money back. Now we're on day 11. Okay. And if you've been listening, if you've been following this, there are only X amount of people involved in this quote unquote scandal. Okay. And there's also a $200,000 bounty, by the way. They call it a bounty. We call it a reward. Okay. $200,000 reward for any information exposing this cheating scandal. Okay. So now I'm going to debunk Alex Jones Jr.'s conspiracy theories here. Okay. On day one, when he tweeted about this, he literally had nothing. He even said, poker's a nuanced game. You're not going to understand it. And then he said, oh, cheating's hard to prove. So he basically said, I have nothing. I have nothing except the fact that I know more than you about the game of poker, which may or may not be true. Because Adelstein has come in on this and weighed in, and he is a very intelligent human being. And he may know as much about poker as Garrett. So anyway, Garrett comes in with this multi-section report here. But along with his conspiracy theories, although I have strong suspicions of many hands that were cheated and the specific methodology, once again, suspicions, not proof, and roles of each member of the cheating ring. So now it's not just Robbie. Now his conspiracy theory includes multiple people. Okay. Conspiracy theory includes multiple people. My legal team has advised me to leave this information out of this initial report. I may choose to disclose additional information in the future if this story continues to be derailed. Garrett, your theory ain't being derailed. It's being debunked, dude. It's being proven wrong. It's not derailed. It's incorrect from the get-go. You can't be derailed when you're wrong. So then he goes on to present some video evidence, which I'll let you look at. Okay. I'm not going to debunk the video evidence. Just look at it. It's a joke. So it's a bad joke. Okay. Here's one of them. Just he's claiming that Rip having his finger like this is indicating to her to fold, which she doesn't do, by the way. She doesn't fold. Okay. And then he makes some noise. See if I can get the noise up here. He went, ee! So whatever he's doing here, this is somehow Garrett saying that he's cheating because he's doing this. Look, Chuck Person has his finger in his, Eric Person has his finger in his mouth. Is he cheating? Is he signaling somebody? People do things at the poker table. This is Rip. So he's got this video evidence, which is just garbage, complete garbage, not even worth my time going over. Okay. Now, when you look at the players in this drama that Garrett started, these are the people. And these are all the people. Okay. These are all the people that we know about. Okay. These are all the people the internet is people on the internet are uh, specifying or suspecting or putting their conspiracy theory in with Garrett on. Okay. So I'm going to debunk every single one of these, Garrett. Every single one of them, just for you, buddy. Okay. Number one, Ryan Feldman. Garrett said from the get go, Hustler was not involved. So, according to Garrett's own testimony in his conspiracy theory, they're not involved. Now, on top of that, Natucci said he's taking a lie detector. He's going to give Ryan a lie detector. Ryan works on this show constantly. Ryan is the number one guy in this show. And it would be absolutely against his show being successful, his show being long running, his show being a moneymaker if he cheated on the show with somebody. So we're going to take Ryan out of the equation immediately because he has the most to lose if he's found cheating. Show's going to go down the tubes. Tucci, he's a sketchy individual. Okay, he used to be a cop. I mean, he's sketchy. Used to like had some real estate school. People sued him. Done some real estate deals. He's sketchy. Okay, but he also has a lot to lose from the show not being successful. A lot to lose. And he claims he's going to take a lie detector. And once again, Garrett said he probably wasn't in on it. So we're going to take him out. Now we get to Brian, the chip thief, the guy who stole 15 grand off Robbie's stack, which set everybody on fire. Oh, look at this. Oh, Brian stole chips, therefore he has to be in on it. Because, right, she didn't pay him or something, or, he's getting what he owed or something. And then when she didn't press charges, they go, oh, well, there, she's not pressing charges. Look, he's in on it. They're partners. Because if you turn somebody in that's in on a scam, what are they going to do? They're going to tell on you. They're going to bring you in. They're going to go, oh, well, I did something. What about her? Now she has decided to press charges. So now she is pressing charges against the kid. So anybody's internet theory about Brian, including Garrett Adelstein's, right? Brian, here's Brian. Here's Brian. So anybody saying that Brian is in on it because he's not having charges pressed against him, that's out the window. He's having charges pressed against him. Now, they're saying Brian worked in this control room, right? And Doug Polka said, well, there's a video, cabinet was moved, so it obscures the view of him looking at these something. These conspiracy theories, man. These guys are off. So anyway, Brian's desk is behind an area where the whole cards can be seen in real time, with a filing cabinet blocking the vision of the camera facing that direction. So what? Even if he can see the whole cards, he ain't the only one who could see them. And he would have to signal to somebody if he did. There's been no signaling device found. There has been no signaling device found on Brian or anybody. There's no known signaling device on Brian because he stole $15,000 worth of Robbie's chips. Okay. Brian said in a post about Garrett Adelstein about when he said, I got, you cheated me in this game. You're involved in the cheating. Brian says, I did not collude whatsoever with Robbie, Rip, or Beans to cheat you, Garrett. Why would I choose to cheat on one of our highest viewed streams? Why would I choose to cheat the most talented and beloved cash player in the world? Why would I cheat the smartest player in the game in front of thousands watching and millions who would see it later? So Brian himself is saying, dude, think about it. If I'm going to cheat, why am I going to cheat you? And why am I going to cheat you in front of possibly cameras and millions of people? So Brian himself has said, I'm not involved. Now, Robbie says she doesn't even know the kid. She does not even know this kid. Robbie doesn't even know the guy. So how is he going to collude with Robbie? She doesn't even know him. Garrett, she doesn't even know Brian. The kid mic'd her up at the show. The kid mic'd her up at a show. That's it. She doesn't even know the guy. But Garrett, he's colluding with her. The evidence that he is communicating live hole and card evidence is extremely strong. Where? There's no evidence. There's no evidence of that, Garrett. There is no extremely strong evidence. As a matter of fact, there's extremely strong evidence that Robbie doesn't know the guy and that said he would never cheat you or the Hustler live stream. There's extremely strong evidence of that, Garrett. Not that you got cheated by Brian. Okay. So we're taking Brian off the list. Juan. Juan is the guy who carried Garrett's bag carried Rip's bag to Nick Natucci. When Rip found out that he was being accused of cheating or someone was being accused of cheating, he said, "Search my bag, dude. No, you think I'm cheating? Search my bag, dude. Look for evidence. Find it because it ain't here." And who did that? Who brought the bag? Juan. Juan carried the bag. So people on the internet are like, "Oh, look at Juan, Juan," right? This is not included in Garrett's conspiracy. This is everybody on the internet's conspiracy, not Garrett's. Okay. And Nick Bertucci came out and said, Juan is employed by Hustler and has been a floor man for 20 years. He's beyond reproach. It's not even a consideration that this guy would do anything. He would never. He's been working there 20 years and has zero record of ever doing anything even slightly shady. So if you on the internet think that Juan is going to cover up or that Juan is going to be involved, Natucci says, nope. Juan ain't involved. Now we got beans, Garrett. Now we got beans, Garrett. And Garrett says about beans, background on beans, the king scammer of Kansas City. He's gone on record several times saying he's responsible for getting Robbie. Yeah, he got Robbie on the show. Yeah, he got Robbie on the show. He was a person of interest in a robbing of Bellagio. He said, yes, he looked like the guy who robbed the Bellagio. The guy who ended up robbing the Bellagio, who was the real guy, ended up getting shot trying to rob it again or something. And that cleared Bean's name. So that's done, Garrett. That's debunked. When asked to take a polygraph test by Las Vegas police, he agreed, but later reneged. He said, yes, he agreed initially. But when he talked to a lawyer, the lawyer said, don't do it. So he called back and said, I'm not going to do it. So he agreed with that. He reneged on a lawyer's advice. So, Garrett, you can take a lawyer's advice, right? My legal team advised me to leave this information out of the initial report. So you can take a legal team's advice and it's okay, right? But if some guy named Beans takes legal advice, well, it's sketchy. It's dicey. Oh, he agreed to do it, then he didn't. Oh. That was his legal team told him not to, bro. Okay, Garrett? Now, Beans said he's met Robbie twice in his whole life. He's known her to be around her twice, two times, once during a tournament and once to get this money. And yes, he said he borrowed money. Yes, the guy is a degenerate gambler by his own admission. He borrows money, and then he said sometimes he's slow to pay it back. He said he borrowed 20K and lost it in one night. He said so much money has been through his hands it would stagger the mind. He's a degenerate gambler. So what? I'll bet I could go to Hustler Casino, toss a penny, and it would hit a degenerate gambler. I'll bet you. Where do degenerate gamblers hang out? At casinos. There's tons of them. And yes, he said he got her on record. He called, and it wasn't even his decision. He said he called DGAF. DGAF called Ryan. Ryan said, "Yeah, let's get her on." That's how he got her on the show. What? So what? He's working the room. If he gets Robbie on the show, he's going to benefit from Robbie being on the show. Now it's going to bolster his name. He's going to seem more credible with Ryan, with everybody. It's going to bolster. It's like he's trying to get over. 100%. The kid's trying to get over. The kid is he's working the room. Guaranteed. He wants loans. He wants action. He wants to gamble. 100% guaranteed. That doesn't make him guilty of cheating with Robbie in a game. He said, regarded by his source as the king scammer of Kansas City. So, Garrett, if you were regarded by a source as the dumbest guy in poker, would you be the dumbest guy in poker? Garrett, if you were regarded as a source by the biggest lunkhead, biggest dumbass in poker, would that make you the biggest dumbass in poker? Because some source said that's who you are? Of course not, dude. So because somebody says that he's a king scammer of Kansas City, it's not even true. And when Bean said, who is this person? I've never heard this, never heard about it, don't know anything about it. What is it? He doesn't even know about it. He's never heard about it. He doesn't know what the guy's even talking about. And Beans also said, I have been accused, and I'm going to plead guilty to taking a false PPP loan. 100%. He said that. So now the guys took a loan from Robbie after getting her on the show, right? Which, hey, look, hey, got you on the show, Robbie. She won money on the show and gave him 20 grand, loaned him 20 grand, didn't even give it to him, loaned it to him. So he's going to pay it back. He claims he's paid everybody back, right? He's pleading guilty to doing something he did wrong with the PPP loan. He's a self-admitted degenerate gambler. But that doesn't mean that he cheated. And don't forget, people, there's 200 grand in this if he did. If he did cheat with Robbie, how easy would it be him to go, yeah, I cheated with Robbie. This is how I did it. Here's the device. This is what I did. This is how I got it. Now give me the 200 grand. Why wouldn't he do that? If he's such a low life, if if he's so horrible, if he's a king scammer, why wouldn't he be getting the 200 grand? Why would he even care about Robbie? Why would he care about anything? he'd be getting the 200 grand. So, Garrett, in terms of your conspiracy theories, yes, he got her on the stream. Yes, he borrowed money from her. Doesn't prove cheating. Doesn't prove any cheating at all. He had no access to the broadcast. He had no access to the whole cards. He had no access to. He wasn't. I don't even know if he was there that night. He was not signaling her. He wasn't standing outside the glass waving at her. There was no signaling device found on him. There's been no evidence of him cheating at a poker game at Hustler Casino, which he's played obviously a lot there. There's been no accusations of him cheating. There's been accusations of him not paying people back after he borrowed money to be a degenerate gambler. That's not cheating. And he said, I didn't, there was nothing here. I didn't do anything. There was no cheating here. He said that himself multiple times. This guy's off the list, man. And then, of course, Garrett's next conspiracy. Nick Airball. He even says, now Garrett here says he qualifies as conspiracy theory. There isn't any direct evidence that Airball is involved in this scheme, in this cheating ring. Nevertheless, the information is presented as it may be relevant to the investigation as a whole. Meaning, hey, go after Nick Airball. So, Garrett, it's not good enough that you're going after Robbie. It's not good enough that you stole Robbie's money. It's not good enough that you ruined her reputation. You got to go after all these people who aren't even involved. So, anyway, here's this conspiracy theory. Robbie, Rip, and Nick Airball dined together at Javier's restaurant for 7 hours. Later on, it is agreed that Airball will be giving Rip a $175,000 loan to play in the game. So now all of a sudden, right, he's involved because what happens? You know, he loaned him 175K. He's got it. He's got a lot involved. Nick Airball came on Joey's podcast, Joey's stream, and said, I loan everybody money. He runs a game in Hustler and he helps Ryan out with the podcast. So let's say a player shows up, can't get their finances together. They were going to wire some money. They maybe thought they had more there. They didn't bring it. They were going to write a check, whatever. Said they need 30K. Nick Airball has been the man who stepped up and said, I'll give you 30K. Come here. Goes to the cage. Give me 30K. Gives it to him. Why? So they can keep the game rolling. So they can get the game going, so they can have people playing in Hustler Casino in their games. There's nothing nefarious about Nick Airball loaning Rip 175K. Nothing, because he does it all the time for people. Rip is just another player that came along that he loaned the money to. And then Nick said, I came later that night after the stream was over. I drove to Hustler and Rip gave me my 175K. So he got paid back. So Nick Airball normally loans people money at Hustler to get in games, and he loaned Rip money to get in a game. So what, Garrett? So what, Garrett? He loans people money all the time. Conspiracy theory debunked. Next, you have Rip. Okay. Rip has money. Okay. Rip is wearing a $500,000 watch. Rip drives a Rolls Royce, Garrett. Nick Airball said Rip lives in a big, expensive house, Garrett. Rip doesn't need your little 100 grand. Background on Rip. It, I mean, all this is just hearsay. This is just everything. I'm not going to go through the statement. It's just hearsay. It's hearsay. There's nothing in there. It's hearsay. When Nick Airball, once again, it's hearsay, but Nick Airball's hearsay is Rip is driving a Rolls. Rip lives in an expensive house. Rip, has money. Rip paid me back 175K, Garrett. So, whatever he's saying about Garrett and who he is questionable. It's hearsay. And it's probably not even true. And then, secondly, Rip got on the podcast, said, no, we didn't cheat. Of course we didn't cheat. Rip offered his bag to be looked at. If you're guilty of something, you're going to offer your bag to be looked at. He has no signaling devices on him. How would he would have to be getting the signal from Brian, supposedly, which he's not, because we've already said Brian's off the list. And then giving it to Robbie. And for what? For what? Half of 100 grand, 50 grand? When this guy's wearing a $500,000 watch, and he's got to rip you off, Garrett. He's got to rip you off, Garrett. See, it's just the arrogance of this guy, the arrogance and just absolute insanity of this guy's, tiny poker mind here. Is just, it's staggering. He's Alex Jones of the poker world. It's the Alex Jones of the poker world. So the other thing is Nick Airball and Rip dined, by Garrett's own admission, for 7 hours. And Rip was so hammered that Nick had to drive him home. Rip was so hammered, right? During this 7 hours, he got so hammered, he got a call from Ryan, said, can you be in the game? Yeah. He didn't even remember. So if they're planning on cheating somehow, if this quote unquote 7-hour nefarious meeting of two guys getting hammered at a bar was somehow setting up a cheating ring, he didn't even remember what happened there. So how's he going to remember some subtle, hey, do this when you do that. Hey, here's the signal. How's he even going to know? He couldn't even remember a phone call. He couldn't remember saying he was going to be in the game. And the next day he was hungover as hell. So he got hammered at this 7-hour nefarious 7-hour drinking session. So he's hammered out of his mind. He can't even drive home. And he's supposed to be what, colluding? Supposed to be figuring out what to do the next day in the game. This is what Garrett's implying when they all ate together and they all hung out together. And by the way, there's $200,000 at stake here. So Rip could go, you know what? I did cheat. You know what? Robbie talked me into it and I did it. Where's my 200K? If he's willing to go cheat for 50 grand, right? Half of Robbie's money. Why wouldn't he cheat why wouldn't he throw under the bus for 200K? He's willing to do some nefarious stuff for 50K. Why wouldn't he do it for 200K? Rip did not cheat in this game. Rip did not cheat in this game. And nobody else thought Rip cheated in this game except Garrett. Phil Ivey stayed there. Eric Person stayed there. Andy Stack stayed there. They all stayed and played poker with the guy. They didn't think he was cheating. Now we've also got this 200K here. Think about this. This has been up. Bill, what's his name? I forget his name. He's a big poker player. He offered 100 grand. And then I think this Harabalo guy or Bob put in another 100 grand. Then somebody else put in 30. So it's like 200 grand plus. If anybody comes forward with any information that shows that Robbie cheated, anybody. So Beans could have cashed in with 200. Juan could have cashed in with 200 grand. Brian, the chip thief, could have cashed in with 200 grand. Nick Airball could have cashed in with 200 grand. Rip could have. Nobody's done it. Nobody's done it. There's no information here, Garrett. And these are people coming to bat for you, buddy. These are people coming to bat for you because you said she cheated. They offered 200 grand of their own money. And guess what, Garrett? Nobody's come forward because nobody has any information on cheating because there was no cheating. Now you get to Robbie. Did she cheat somehow? Now we've taken out every player in this conspiracy theory. So if the theory relies on Brian to be relaying her messages, it ain't working. There's no evidence that he did. There's no evidence that Juan helped. There's no evidence that Bean helped. There's no evidence that Nick. There's no evidence any of these people helped her cheat. No evidence at all. None, except Garrett's delusional conspiracy theories. She's offered to take a lie detector test, which will be in, I think, today, which I think is going to show she was truthful. She didn't lie. She's been on Joey's podcast for hours talking about this. Hours. She's been, she gave the money back. She gave the guy the money back. If you're cheating somebody out of money, how often do you give it back? Go watch these guys that play that 3-card money on the street and see how many times when somebody goes, hey, I think you're cheating, give me my money back. How many times they give their money back? Not many. How many times when you get cheated, do you ask the cheater, oh, by the way, you cheated. Can you give me my money back? And they go, yeah, sure, no problem. I cheated you. No. She gave the guy his money back. She explained everything the night of. She explained everything the next day. Now she's not coherent. 100% guaranteed she's not coherent. When the girl, I think her name is Julie, said, remember when we played in that game and you came with 5K? She said, no, I didn't. I came with 20K. And that's the second time we played. So she can't even, she thinks that she played with this woman twice. This woman is convinced that they've only played together once. Right? So Robbie can't even remember how many times she played poker with this woman. She can't remember how much the buy-in was. She can't explain any hands that happened. She doesn't understand when Julie said, oh, you took 5K off the table. This is another one of Garrett's conspiracy theories here. Let me see here. There's a whole big story of it. Julie said that we had you have 5K behind, right? Julie asked Robbie, you have 5K behind, right? She doesn't even know what that means. When she's questioned on the podcast, right, by Julie, she's on the podcast with Julie. She's going, well, that's the second time we played. And what do you mean $5,000? I bought him for 20 grand and you won it all. She doesn't even understand what they're talking about. So Garrett's trying to claim that somehow, Robbie's, being angling here. She's being very secretive. She's not being very secretive. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know the game of poker. She doesn't know the intricacies of the game, which is obvious from the way she talks. And she's inconsistent in all of her accounts. They're all inconsistent. So she's consistent in being inconsistent. Does that mean she cheated you, Garrett? No, it does not. To cheat somebody, you have to cheat somebody. She didn't cheat you. She did not cheat. Regardless of how inconsistent you are, regardless of not remembering if you played with Julie once or twice, regardless of what your excuse is for playing your jack, regardless of any of that, if she didn't cheat, she didn't cheat. So all these conspiracy theories here are debunked. Every single. Oh, and here's another one. Oh, Robbie's at the boy drinking with her boyfriend, which was Rip. Okay, so now not only is he bringing a conspiracy about Robbie being a cheater in poker, he's bringing a conspiracy that she's cheating on her husband. Okay, because on night one when Joey did his first stream, they got Charles Lew on, her husband, and everybody's like, "Whoa, she's married! Wow, we thought Rip was her boyfriend." And Charles is like, "It's news to me." You know, so now she's getting accused of cheating on her husband. You know, and they could be in an open relationship. Not saying they're not, but guess what? Guess who else is married? Rip. Rip is married too. So now Garrett's endangering his relationship with his wife by saying, "Oh, they're with no proof, with nothing but hearsay." This is hearsay. The two were affectionate with each other. That doesn't mean anything. We don't know what affectionate is. I mean, there's some women that are huggers. They can hug you every 5 minutes and be nothing sexual about it. We don't know, but what we do know is that Rip has said she's not my girlfriend. I'm not dating her. Robbie said he's not my boyfriend. I'm married. So every one of these, every one of these points that Garrett brings up can be debunked. And I've debunked quite a few of them. Feldman's not in on it. Nutucci's not in on it. Brian ain't in on it. Juan's not in on it. Beans ain't in on it. Nick Airball ain't in on it. Rip ain't in on it. And guess what? Robbie did not cheat, Garrett. So where does that leave you, buddy? Yeah, it leaves you donating 136 grand to the Boys and Girls Club to clear your conscience because you're the one who screwed up. You're the one who's dragging a woman's name through the mud. You're the one who's paranoid. You're the one who's delusional. You're the one who's mistaken. You're the one who's wrong. Okay, Garrett? And, at the end of this, Garrett's going to give the money back. And if he doesn't, I have a feeling that Charles Lew is going to sue him. So Garrett's Alex Jones type poker theories debunked.